Imagine a construction project so gigantic that entire empires succeeded one another for 2,500 years, involving millions of workers, only to be completed in 1878. The result? A colossal wall stretching 21,000 kilometers, roughly half the circumference of the Earth. But ask yourself this question: would an empire spend so much energy and so many human lives over 25 centuries simply to protect itself from a few nomadic horsemen? The enemy feared at the beginning of the construction had disappeared from the Earth, its language had died out, and its people had assimilated long before the wall was completed. So why did they keep building? Were the builders insane, or were they trying to contain a far more terrifying danger? Part 1. The military inconsistency of the wall. In military engineering, the rule is absolute. Defensive systems and the arrow slits through which soldiers fire always point outward, toward the enemy. Yet across very large portions of the wall, the arrow slits and fortifications point inward, toward China itself. Travelers have even demonstrated that it is extremely easy to climb the wall from the outside, but supposedly impossible to do so from the inside. Was this monument really designed to keep invaders out, or was it built as a giant prison to prevent an internal threat from escaping? Official history claims that these anomalies can be explained by the different dynasties that built the wall in stages. But supporters of alternative theories claim that all the coherent tourist sections you see on Google have been completely reconstructed or recently modified during modern restoration. The original sections, they claim, remain deliberately hidden, buried beneath vegetation and inaccessible in order to conceal the truth. Part 2. The Lost Empire of Tartaria. According to a theory that has become increasingly popular online, this monument was not called the Great Wall of China, but the Great Wall of Tartaria. It supposedly marked the border of a technologically advanced global empire, now completely erased from our history books. According to this theory, Tartarian structures were not simply military fortifications, but free energy production systems. The more than 2,000 watchtowers along the wall supposedly served as receivers, capturing ether energy from the atmosphere and emitting high-intensity electromagnetic frequencies. This network supposedly generated an invisible energy shield capable of repelling creatures from other dimensions. But how could such power have disappeared? The theorists point to a mysterious mud flood that supposedly occurred in the 19th century, a cataclysm that buried the lower floors of some of the world's most beautiful buildings. As evidence, they point to windows in old buildings that seem inexplicably buried below the current ground level. The surviving elites supposedly took advantage of the chaos to rewrite history and enslave humanity within a system based on financial control and paid energy. Part 3. The Shock of Reality. It is a fascinating and seductive story. But what happens when we open the actual historical and architectural archives? The reality is actually even more incredible and deeply human. Let us start with the orientation of the arrow slits. Military historians explain that in extremely mountainous and rugged terrain, fortifications needed to be bidirectional. Soldiers needed to defend against attempts to bypass the wall, attacks from behind, or internal rebellions, while also securing the wall itself, which functioned as a genuine highway for moving troops. And what about those windows supposedly buried by the so-called mud flood? Architects explain that these were English basements. Basements or semi-basements deliberately designed to house kitchens and service areas while still receiving light and fresh air through light wells. More importantly, in some cities, streets really were raised, but not because of mud. Humans raised them. In the 1850s, the city of Chicago, built on a swamp, was at risk from cholera epidemics. To install a sewer system, engineers laid the pipes along the existing streets, covered them with fill, and then lifted entire blocks of stone buildings using thousands of screw jacks. Businesses continued operating while the city was being raised. What some interpret as a catastrophe was actually one of the greatest feats of modern engineering. Part 4. The map, myth, and free energy. But then why does the word Tartaria appear on old maps before disappearing? The answer is simple. Tartary was not a unified empire, but a generic geographical term. an exonym used by European cartographers to describe the immense territories of Central Asia and Siberia that were still largely unknown to them. As exploration progressed and borders became more precisely defined, this vague term naturally disappeared, replaced by Siberia, Mongolia, or Manchuria. As for the domes and metal spires presented as free energy antennas, science and history show that they were simply lightning rods, invented by Benjamin Franklin to protect wooden structures, natural ventilation chimneys designed to remove warm air before air conditioning existed, and copper roofs chosen for their exceptional durability. And if the theory likes to portray Nikola Tesla as the guardian of a lost science, the reality is that his Wardenclyffe wireless power transmission project, unfortunately, failed technically and financially, leading to its demolition in 1917 to repay his debts. Physics does not respect conspiracies. If this energy actually worked, any engineer or amateur could use it today. To attribute these architectural masterpieces to a phantom empire for which there are no tools, graves, or writings left is to commit an injustice. It is to steal the credit from the thousands of immigrants, stonemasons, carpenters, and engineers, whose names nevertheless appear in black and white in the payroll records of the era. Conspiracy thinking seeks to transform our lack of knowledge into fantastical mysteries. But the real history of our ability to build, raise cities, and innovate is infinitely more inspiring. The eyes are worthless if the mind is blind. And what do you think? Leave your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.